Have you ever wanted to imagine yourself in another place, in another time, yet you are still present in the current time? Let's talk about astral projection. Let's go. What? Hello and welcome to the Tequila Hour. My name is Amanda, if you didn't know. It is Sunday. It is the 12th of October 2025. Shit's going down, baby, and I've got a really interesting topic of discussion today. I have several, if you know, podcasts talk about mentioned, highlighted the topic of astral projection. So what are we going to talk about today? First of all, I'm going to talk about astral projection. What is astral projection? I'm going to talk about remote viewing and what the difference is. I am going to then firstly give you my own personal experience in regards to astral projection. And then finally, let's just wrap it up in a neat little bow and talk about some shit. Chew the bacon, chew the fat. Is that the saying? And let's go from there. But you know what first? We have to do some motherfucking admin. Let's go. Yeah, hello and welcome to those who've never listened to this podcast before. Hi. Hey. Ow. No, it's not Cardi. I don't want to be Cardi either. My name's Amanda. This is the Tequila Hour. I am right now in Australia, in New South Wales, in the secret location. If you've been playing along, you know where that is. And you know where that is. And today being Sunday the 12th, mate, I don't think there could be any better day to talk about the topic of discussion today, being astral projection. I'm into it. Yep. So first, like I said, a little bit of admin. If you've never listened to this podcast before, and maybe you might have projected based on the title of this podcast that, yes, I do like to partake in some sequential beverages. I don't know. That's what just came out. So today I am drinking Kirin Hikatsu. Could have butchered it. Don't care if I did. I'm drinking, it's a Japanese premix, which is like it's got a flavour. I'm drinking a pineapple and a peach. Well, I've got a peach as a backup. It's amazing. I'll link it in the description. If you've never had it, fucking just get on board. No, I'm not drinking tequila. And I'm also simultaneously, because that's what I do, I'm drinking water. I have a water. Do you need me to take a picture? And I'm also drinking a C4 energy drink, 0 sugar, flavour, cotton candy. It's the first time I've tried this flavour. It's fucking nice. It's really nice, actually. I'm just going to have a quick sip, just so, like a bit of ASMR for you. Let me try it. It's beautiful. Yeah. Get on it. No. Yes, so if you've never listened to this podcast before, yes, I usually do have a drink as I ramble on. So if you need to stop, grab yourself a drink, please do. If that includes snackage, you might need one. You might already be tanked. I don't know. I'm not. But if you are tanked, perhaps you need a snack. So grab yourself a snack as well. These podcasts these episodes usually go for a bit over an hour. So if you need to go to the fucking toilet, go now. And yeah, just relax. Just relax. Quick update on the week. Great week. Short week. 4 days. It was a public holiday here in Australia on Monday. Don't ask me the date. The Monday just gone. I'm not going to do the mathematics for you. Figure it out. It was a public holiday on Monday. Only worked 4 days this week. You've probably just done the maths. The math. Yes, worked 4 days. Fantastic. Jam-packed. Literally at the end of the week, I had a headache. And I said to my husband, it's very funny when you have a shorter week, but yet it feels like a longer week. It feels longer than 5 days. I don't know how that works. Is it a mindset thing? Is it the paradigm shift of consequence? I don't know. But let's just say it was a shorter week. It felt like a fucking longer week. At the end of the week, my mind was, I had a headache. I had a headache. I needed a break. And, I've had a break. So then yesterday, I really didn't do much. I went to go to a crystal festival because, I don't know, you probably figured this out that I'm into that shit. If you know, you know. And in this, I was about to say where it was. I could say where it was. I don't know why I'm being so secretive. I went to the Crystal Festival yesterday, being Saturday. It was shit. I didn't even see any crystals. I don't even know if there was a fair there. All I could say is that I went there, there was a shit ton of children running around, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. So I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling the energetic vibes that should have been pulsing through the area that I had just entered, yet there was none. So I basically went, no. I'm out. Didn't see a crystal, didn't even see one motherfucking crystal at the Crystal Fair, which is a shame because, I thought that might be really cool. Had some lunch, did a bit of wandering around. I do have some really exciting parcels coming my way, I'm not even going to talk about it now because when they arrive, bitch, I will fucking talk about it. Really excited about actually three now, makeup related, that are coming hence my way. So I will talk about that in a separate podcast. I will say right now in Australia, sorry, I had to move it away from the mic, so it might sound a bit strange. I'm just going to check the Bureau of Bullshit, better known as the Bureau of Meteorology. I can't even speak. The Bureau, all right. It is a Bureau of Bullshit. Right now here in the secret location, it's 29.9, okay? I don't have a fan on, nor do I have air conditioning on, so I'm sweating. I'm sweating right now here in the little podcast room, office room, all-encompassing beauty space. Yeah. So it's hot, which is great. Here in Australia, it's not moving into – I'm just going to put my phone back. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Please hold. I was trying to place my mobile phone back on its recharge station, and it wanted to be a bitch. This is real talk. Real life. Yeah, we're moving into summer, mate. Bring it on. It's now daylight saving. We've got extra time in the afternoon, which is fantastic. It's amazing how many people I've realised don't or have a disgust for daylight saving, which is unbelievable. In my wait, I'm gonna let me have a quick sip of my drink. Anyway, yeah, daylight saving has commenced last weekend. I live for it, mate. Love it. Give it to me. Let's make love. when daylight saving is upon us, there is more time for that. If you know, you know. Now I'm distracted. Fuck. Daylight saving is here. I'm all for it. Okay? Most Australians are. If you're not into that in New South Wales, then you're not fucking Australian. Yeah, I said it. Even Tony and Ryan. Tony, hot take, daylight saving, fuck yeah. So this is what I'm saying. If you don't like it, you're un-Australian. Yep. Yeah, so daylight saving is here. It's warming up. We're moving into summer. Sorry, I hit the microphone. In our regions that primarily listen to this podcast in America, unfortunately for you, you're moving into fall. I know you love that shit. But yeah, you're moving into the spooky season. It's October. You're moving into fall and loving that shit. Here in Australia, we're in singlet tops now. It's hot. It's 29.9 here in this room. Okay. I'm loving it. Yeah, so there's that. That's it. Is there any more admin? Had a great weekend, doing a podcast right now. Not much more to report. Had a great week. Nothing to really report there except by Friday I had a splitting headache. You don't need to know. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the week that is very closely upon us. Looking forward to my husband coming home this afternoon and watching a movie because it's usually movie Sunday, which is very exciting. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get into the topic of discussion today. First of all, though, let me just play you, let's play a little bit of music, shall we?
Wow. What is that?
I don't know. That's all I had. I needed a sip of my drink and that's what you get. Astral projection. This is something I've wanted to talk about. You'd be like, Amanda, really? You're whack. Yeah, I am whack. I am not whack in my mind. I am someone who will always be open to the possibilities or the impossibilities that is. That's probably a good summary. I'm open-minded. I will believe in the unbelievable. Prove me wrong. Why is it that it is or why is it that it isn't? I don't give a fuck. I have an expansive mind that will, I'll explore the possibilities even if I don't understand it. Mate, I'm a quantum developer. Did I say that right? I can't speak. I'm too excited. This is a subject I'm really interested in, by the way. Yeah, my quantum entanglement, my, what do you call it? My application, which I haven't really talked about for a while, this is plausible to me. It's not only plausible, it is of truth. I will compare it to something else that is of truth. To a lot of people, you would be saying to yourself, I don't believe you, Amanda, and you're fucked. I would say to you, get fucked. No. I would say to you, what does it hurt? It's not even being hurt. Are you brave enough to let your mind expand into understanding or try to understand something that is not understandable? To me, it is. It is understandable. To me, I don't need to have a clear black and white explanation for something. I'm happy in these realms of discussion to be in the grey. They are in the grey. They are unknown. They are unexplainable to a lot of people. But for people who have experienced astral projection, people who have experienced and do right now across this beautiful earth remote viewing, then or levitation or lots of other things that I could talk about, then to these and to me and to a subset of individuals, this is logical and normal and okay. I'm not saying it's out there. Well, it is. It's out there. It's untheorized. It's unexplainable often. It's not quantable. It's, unfortunately and fortunately, let's, flip that on two sides. As human beings, we need to have the black and white result to, have our brains understand a particular narrative, a particular subject. I do understand the science behind that. I will, though, say to you that sometimes things are outside the boundaries of science. Quantum entanglement, even though that is something that we are more and more as the scientific community, and I'm putting myself in there, fuck it, that this is now we have scientific proof of some of the theories that have been discussed. Yeah, I don't know why. Look, I do know in a one way. I don't know in its entirety. As a human being, we clearly know our brains, and as human beings, our soul has so much potential. I always will be of proposition to open your mind to the possibilities of the impossible, and you might find that not only do you understand, but you might resonate with that, and then you might resonate with someone else, and then you might resonate with a community, and you might resonate with all. And for me, this is something that as I'm working through, I'm exploring, I am studying. I've talked about Highlander, which will happen, and my calling around that. It's a beautiful world, and why would you want to limit yourself when it truly is limitless? So that's what I believe. If you don't believe it, each to their own. But I'm going to propose some topics of discussion today around astral projection. But first, I'm just going to grab a quick drink. Give me a second.
Cockroaches, see you got across the board. No, it's more than survival, baby. It's hardcore. Cockroaches, hard to kill, hard to ignore. The shadows I explore. Tell me more, tell me more. Cockroach love, it's a dirty affair. Legs intertwined, discuss it with fear.
Okay. I might cut it short. Who cares? I need a sip of my drink. Anyway, astral projection. First of all, I'm going to talk about what astral projection is. I've done a Google search, and I will use that as the parameter today. It's not a definitive explanation of what astral projection is. Then I'm going to give my example, and then we're going to talk about some other shit. So, what is astral projection? What is it? You'd be like, Amanda, just get into it. Okay, just relax. Astral projection is an esoteric or spiritual practice and belief that your consciousness can leave your physical body in a subtle body to travel through the astral plane or non-physical realm. Proponents describe it as a conscious out-of-body experience, or in brackets OBE, while scientific perspectives view these experiences as hallucinations. Sure they do. Or effects of neurological conditions rather than the literal soul of travel. From a spiritual perspective, consciousness separation, the core idea is that your astral body or body of light separates from your physical body, allowing your consciousness to operate independently. That's an interesting discussion. Astral travel, we'll talk about that. Once separated, the astral body can travel to different places, including other dimensions. I wish I've done that, but I haven't. With the experience of feeling incredibly real. So the experience feeling real is what I was trying to say. An intentional practice, astral projection is often an intentional experience which can be facilitated, by meditation, dreams, or other altered states of awareness. I'm assuming they're talking about drugs. What science or psychology and what science and psychology say, or psychologists say, neurological phenomenon from a scientific standpoint, what people describe as astral projection can be a type of dissociated experience or neurological phenomenon. Of course they do. Similar to lucid dreaming, that's an interesting topic. Many scientists and researchers consider astral projection to be a form of a lucid dream, where a person experiences themselves as separated from their body without a literal departure of a soul. Hallucinations. These experiences can also be by neurological issues, including epilepsy, migraines, or psychedelic drug use, leading to a sense of disorientation and feeling of leaving the body. Some key differences and considerations. Belief system. This is a good one. Astral projection is a belief system requires faith in a non-physical soul and the existence of other realms. I'm going to repeat that. A belief system that astral projection is a belief that requires faith. If you have it, you have it. If you don't, I ask you to think about it. In a non-physical soul and existence of other realms. Scientific evidence. There is no scientific evidence to support the existence of a subtle body, an astral plane, or a paranormal phenomena like astral projection. Mind-opening experience, regardless of interpretation. Many find OBE out-of-body experiences, that is, including those that label as astral projection, to be thrilling and mind-opening experiences that offer a unique perspective on consciousness.
Cockroach creeping up my belly to my throat. Here's what I miss about me. Add one more.
Yep. That was a lot. Astral projection. I will talk about remote viewing. It's not the same. It's very different. But I know I would say to you, in topics of these kind of conversations, I'm assuming, without listening to like a shit ton of podcasts around astral projection, that remote viewing is also talked about. Anyway, let me talk about an example that I've experienced myself. Okay? This is where this has come from. This is where, like I just mentioned, how many seconds ago or minutes ago, that I do have a mind that will expand. Okay? Look, it's very strange when I think about it as I hit the microphone. I will acknowledge that I do have a level of requiring control in my life for really that leads into controlling myself and controlling a level of anxiety that I feel. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because even though I acknowledge I am someone who likes control and being in control, I like things to be a certain way. I like things to look a certain way. I like, as an example, and I've talked about this in the past, if someone was to examine me, I would say to you, I examine or display OCD tendencies in certain things. In saying that though, I also like mess. I also like clutter. I like the unknown. Depends on the thing and depends on my mind state, obviously. Even though I like control, I would say to you that I am intellectually and spiritually, and probably it would lean more around the spirituality and the faith of not understanding something and being open to that and thinking to myself, okay, I don't understand, I'm not in control, yet something else could be. Or they're not even it's not even about being in control, but I'm not in control of it, and being okay with that. And that's what, that is a part, one of the aspects for me about faith is not being in control at all. And it is something that I'm learning. I'm not saying I have an entire comfort level around that, yet it's something that I'm learning and trying to learn to be more open to. And the more I am open to it, the more centered I'd feel. So I acknowledge, for me as a person, out of control, don't really understand it. I have faith that it's all good. So this is the thing. When I just mentioned faith and I mentioned scientific evidence and I mentioned that, you could say this is just, and I'm sure, I'm not dismissing this. If I took LSD, which I've never done, or I had some magic mushrooms, look, I'm not going to talk about my drug use, but I will say to you that, yes, I could say to you that I could see where taking certain, illicit drugs could create a feeling of astral projection, shall we say. Let's cut to the point. I agree. I'm sure that is the case. If you want to talk about mental health and separate to any drug taking, I am sure in a disassociated state, and I have been in many disassociated states in my life, that I could say to you, and it could be very plausible in psychological terms, that, I see things or I feel things or I project things that aren't real. I'm not dismissing that at all. Can we separate the scientific from the theoretical here, from the spiritual here? Can we expand and be comfortable in the fact that astral projection is real? Is real. I'm going to repeat that. Is real. You can experience this. You do need to put yourself in a particular state of mind to do that. I am absolutely sure that there are people who can get into that particular state of mind easier than others. I'm sure there is. And why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to experience such a beautiful level of really physical dissociation, to experience something on a different plane in the current plane or even in another dimension? I don't know why. And look, yes, you can enhance that experience by taking drugs. I'm not saying to you, go and grab some fucking magic mushrooms. I've never done it. I'm too scared to do that, I will confess. LSD, magic mushrooms, I will never do that. Some of those Mexican shit. What's that weird honey shit that makes you do shit? I will never do that, because I acknowledge quite clearly, even though I've had a couple of drinks here, which, again, alcohol changes the not trajectory, the synapses. I don't know. It does. It weakens the field. I don't know. Relaxes. Yeah, I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm not saying that's what you should do to get into this state. My example, let me just have a quick drink.
Jeez, look at that.
Yeah, I'm on fire. Anyway, astral projection, my example. Many, many years ago. So just for context, I'm 52. It's October, not that far from 53. That's, I know I say it like that. I'm actually very proud to be turning 53. It's gonna, yeah, that's gonna be a fucking podcast, mate. Fucking proud. Anyway, get distracted by my own thoughts. Yeah, I'm 52. The experience I'm going to talk about happened many years ago. So when I was, how old was I? 19. So that's a fucking long time ago. I lived in, I'll tell you that, why am I sure? I'll just tell you the whole experience. Well, it's hard to explain because it comes off the back of something. But anyway, at the time, I lived with a girl called Carly. We lived in Kincumber and in New South Wales, the Central Coast region. We basically found each other and decided to move out together. We lived in I think for a better use of a word, a hostel, a youth hostel. And I'm not going to talk about how I got there, but that's how we met each other. And I was thinking about her today because she was a beautiful person, a beautiful girl. I'm thinking, just for a picture, she had beautiful red hair. Anyway, she was just a gorgeous girl. And we decided to move out together. I think we lived together for about a year and a half. And then she moved on and I moved on. In that time, and I knew her from the youth hostel and we just clicked and we were great friends. And, when you talk about, the life or the path you walk and meeting people and where they are in your life, it was a great time in my life. It was really where I'd gone through a lot in the last previous 2 years, moving from 19 to 20. And yeah, I was in a liberated, excited, growing up place. And Carly was a part of that place. We had a great time. I had a great time. And yeah, it was great living together. And she was, which I didn't really think of at the time much but on reflection looking back, she was a spiritual person. And it was something that intrigued me, interested me. Yet I don't think I had the mental headspace in its entirety to really grasp it or enhance it or encourage it or, I don't know, create that space in my mind. Like I said, I had come out of a difficult, really 2 to 3 years in my life, and she was there, and yeah, I'm very honoured to thinking back on her as a person. Yeah, to have found her, and she really started this spark, actually. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I think the spark was always there because I have been always of open-mindedness. But yeah, she really did create a spark in me around this. So I think I've touched on this before. I don't know how far. But would I say she was a white witch? I don't know. She did read a lot of books. She was if you want to say she was a nerd, she was very attracted to that side of spirituality. She was, she did spells and she read a lot of books and, yeah, she was fully into it. I never really at that time understood it or practiced it, but I witnessed it, shall we say. And so through osmosis, I felt it. She talked about astral projection. I don't even know how that topic came up in discussion. At that time, I did not know about meditation. I did not know about astral projection in its, all-encompassing. But I don't even know how it happened, how we discussed it, but we discussed meditation. And look, at that time, I wasn't into meditation. I'd finally found myself as a woman, and I was into partying and having sex, I'll be honest with you. So I was just having fun. And yeah, it was nice to have someone who just gave me, a room in the many rooms of my life, really. And yeah, she talked about meditation and talked about astral projection. And I don't even know, I'm trying to think of it because there's runes that come into this. I'm not going to go into that now. I just remember a level of conversation that we had. I remember at that time I did like my space as well, where I'd often walk somewhere or go somewhere and listen to music or just tune out, etc. And I can't even remember where I was, to be honest. But we talked about this, the theory of astral projection and what that is, and meditation, and then, that you would close your eyes, you'd get yourself into a meditational state, and that you would then leave your body to project to another place. And, I didn't think that was stupid. I actually thought it was really cool. You might think to yourself right now, that's weird. I didn't think that. I didn't think Carly was weird in any way, that she practiced white magic or she had these ideas or thoughts or feelings. She was just a person, and yeah, we met each other at an amazing time, and yeah, it was great. So I didn't think that was weird in any way to think about, meditating and astral planing. But I remember I tried it. So the example that I'll give to you, and I can give more recent examples. At that time, like I said, I lived at Kingumba, and I remember meditating. I don't even remember if I used a particular chant or a series of chants or listened to music. I'm assuming I listened to some sort of musical tone. You talk about heresy or heresinced, is that what you call it? Particular hertz that can place you into a more meditative state. I think it was more, looking back on it, it was more around, I don't know if it was a particular chant, which if you're into that can lead you into a particular, relaxed meditative state. But yeah, I remember I was awake, yet meditating and then projecting myself into another place. And at that time, and I clearly think about it now, like while I'm doing this podcast, where I projected myself to a place which was, what can I say? It was familiar to me. And how do I explain this? I felt like, even though I was deeply entranced, okay, but yet not asleep. So that's a good distinction. I don't know. Then I'm not going to talk about the phases of sleep, but I don't think, was I in REM? I don't know. Yet I would say to you that I projected myself, my then unphysical body, because clearly my physical body was in the place that I was sitting in, and I was sitting, I wasn't lying down. that I projected now as I understand it, my consciousness into another space. That space being that it wasn't that far away or magical. It was, which, I don't know why it was, but I project myself into a place at Gosford. It's weird when I say this. If you know the Central Coast in New South Wales, you'll be like, what are you talking about, Amanda? I projected myself to a particular place. I don't know why I projected to that place, thinking about it. Even now, I can't explain it, to a place that actually no longer exists anymore. The building exists, but the shopping centre doesn't exist anymore. My apologies, I hit the microphone. I projected myself to this place. I felt like I was there in real time, that I saw people and I was moving, but I had no physical body, which is very strange, and that I was present in this place in Gosford, yet I wasn't there. It's really, right now, if I listen back to this podcast, you'd be like, Amanda, you're drunk. Yeah, I could be. I don't know how to explain it. I was there, and I absolutely, with 100% genuineness, say to you that even though I was physically in one place, my consciousness, as I now understand, at that time, at the age of 19, I didn't understand consciousness. I didn't understand the soul really at all, or even had the inclination to try and understand that in its totality. I will say to you, though, I acknowledge and confirm that as a physical being, as in my body, I was in one place physically and my consciousness was in another place in real time. And I saw people and they did not see me, but my consciousness was there and I felt that, and it was real. And yeah, it was beautiful. I didn't feel scared. What can I say? It was overwhelming in the sense that as a 19-year-old woman, how do you understand this? If you've got nothing to then compare it to, if I was to say to you, I didn't have a mentor or a person or another woman, even though I had Carly, I didn't have someone, and who was younger than me, by the way. I was 19 and she was 16, I believe, or 17. I didn't have anyone to then go, well, what you're doing is this is, this is why you're feeling this, or this is why this is happening. I didn't have any of that. I didn't feel scared though. I don't want to say I felt at home, but I would say to you I wasn't uncomfortable at all. It felt real. It was real. I can say to you, hand on heart, that my physical being as a body, as a vessel, as a person, my consciousness now as I understand that, because like I said at the time I didn't know that, wasn't there. It was in another place, that place being at this place in Gosford. And yeah, I saw people, I felt people, and I didn't interact with them, but I was there. And then I think on reflection, because like I said, I'm 52, so it was a long time ago, that I did that a couple of times and that was it. I don't know why I didn't do it again. I would say to you, moving forward and projecting very forward, that there has been times, and one example that I will give to you, that when I have been, in REM, I would say, that I have listened to a particular meditation sequence and therefore dropped into a particular meditative hypnotic state. I don't know what that state was, but I wouldn't say I was in a trance, but I would say to you I was in a deep hypnotic state, that my physical being was in the bed. I was in bed, laying down, comfortable, no level of anxiety or pressure, whatever. My physical body was there, but my consciousness was not. I would say to you that, and I don't know why, and I really, in my lifetime, want to explore. I'd say to you it's connected to my heritage as a human being, that if you didn't know where my genetic makeup comes from, that my mother was Aboriginal and that my father was Scandinavian. And I have this very strong, in that kind of hypnotic state, to be in Iceland. I don't know why. It's a very strong, when I think, even now, when I think about a very strong pull, not as in dive in a pool water, a very strong pull to be there. And back. What was I saying? The strong pull. Yes, that was my husband, and yeah, he's on his way home. So, yes, I'm completely absorbed in this discussion today. What was I talking about? The pull to be in Iceland. Like I mentioned, what do you call it? Your DNA, your heritage. Some people then will talk about past lives. That's not what I want to get into today, but I do have a very strong pull after watching. I can't even remember, and I can't even link it for you, but I remember watching a bit, and I know it happened because I'm like, did it actually happen? No, it did. I was watching a particular show, I believe, on TV, and they were on this particular island off Iceland or Greenland. I don't know. But anyway, they were in this cottage and there was a body of water, and I honestly could not get it out of my mind, this particular place. It was, I don't want to say it was like coming home, because for me, Japan is that. That's another discussion. It was really it is a soul pull to a particular place or area on the planet Earth that I just feel drawn to. And I know that myself personally, when I have been in a level of hypnosis or self-hypnosis in a meditative state, that I have thought about this place and felt like I was in a particular place. And honestly, in part of, wide awake life journey bullshit, I honestly will want to, and I will. Shall I go there? I want to be in that place. When I think about it, it makes me feel very emotional because it actually touches a piece of my soul. I don't know why it does that. I'm sure that there are spiritual people with a greater level of knowledge that I have that would understand my thoughts and feelings around this, and it's not just a feeling, it's all encompassing around that. And this is why I say to you, look, I don't think it's easy to just, I don't know, go to bed one night, listen to some meditative sound or music or a particular hertz and get yourself into a hypnotic state and then astral project somewhere. It's clearly more complex than that. It's very clearly more, there is that level of belief that you can do that. I would say to you that a bit like levitation, which I've never really which I have discussed on a podcast, but not discussed really in verbatim with people in my life right now or in the last however many years, that it's true. I can give you an example where it's true. And it's true to me. And how do you quantify that? How do I explain to you, as a 19, 20-year-old that I was in one place in a meditative state and my consciousness was somewhere else, and I felt like I was in that other space. In time, in reality, I was there. And I can't quantify that at all, but it was true to me. And, I just mentioned at the very start of this conversation where there's that scientific, neurological, physiological, psychological discussion around the fact that, there's a level of dissociation. You could say hypnosis is a level of a dissociation, clearly. There is, apart from mental illness, I'm thinking about, schizophrenia, bipolar even, that you could get yourself into a particular state and feel like you were somewhere else. I can see the plausibility in that. I could clearly see the plausibility, and I will be very clear here that, yes, if you take certain hallucinating drugs, that, yeah, you're going to feel like you're in a fucking other place, mate. Rest assured that if you let your brain go there, I'm sure in a physical sense you would feel like you've left your motherfucking body and that you're now, on top of Everest and, finding all the dead bodies. No. That's weird. I understand that. I truly do understand, especially with, the integration of hallucinogenic drugs that, yeah, fuck, you could go on any kind of fucking spiritual journey that you wanted to go to, because clearly your mind is more open and clearly, yeah, it's blocking shit and creating pathways that your mind have never fucking known of its existence. And fucking, mate, yeah, if you're up for that, bravo to you. Like I said, I know I will never do hallucinogenic drugs for that reason. I can't. I know. Trust me, I know. My brain is that broad that it will, well, could you say you were afraid? Yeah, level of unfaith here. Yeah, that my brain is too broad and I would lose myself. I would lose myself psychologically, and that's why I've never done those kind of types of drugs. If you're willing to do that and experience that, bravo to you, mate. I would say to you, though, you don't need to take drugs to actually experience, and I wasn't on any drug. I didn't drink. I wasn't even drinking when I had the experience in 1920 when I did that, when I gave the example of being in another place outside of my body, astral projection. I wasn't drinking. I was completely sober. I wasn't any on medication at all. I didn't even take a Panadol, okay? Nothing, okay? No drugs, no substances, nothing, okay? I was in a meditative state. My body, as I now understand it, my consciousness left my body and was in another place. It was a good experience. It's something I still recall fondly. I don't feel uncomfortable with it. I don't feel uncomfortable having this conversation. I want to have this conversation because for me, it ties into some of the things that I want to have a greater understanding about in regards to quantum entanglement, in regards to consciousness, in regards to what I want to create. And it's, yeah, just that open-mindedness to believe the unbelievable. Really, that's what it's about. And in a world where, mate, you go to work, you come home, you're in your relationships, you're all of it. Okay, we could go deep into all of it. Why would you not want to experience something so beautiful? Certainly if you are a person of faith, as I am, and like I said, for me it is a journey that I am on, and I'm coming back to, clearly. When I think about Carly and I think about being 19 and think about really for her at that age where it was logical to her and it was comfortable to her, and I didn't think she was weird at all. That never came into my consciousness, to be honest. And, I think of my mind and I think how of pure thought and openness I was. And then, through the journey of life, shall we say, and the relationships that come and go, to then come to a place how many years later where I fondly think of Carly and I fondly think of those experiences, and in this last couple of years where I have now personally experienced it myself, where I've, like I said, I've visualised I have been somewhere else. And it's not easy. My mind, which I've discussed before, can fill itself with thoughts, too many all at once, which can be of benefit, but it's probably not advantageous when you are trying to astral project your consciousness somewhere, I would say to you. It's clear to me that you do need to be in a level of hypnosis, personally, if you're not going to use medication, to be able to harness or access this type of function, mind function. I don't know, when I thought about it, I thought, to me I think of it fondly. I don't think of it as something as pseudoscience or weird or whack, to be honest. And then what I thought is, when I was doing this podcast today, I thought, well, is there any actual examples of astral projection? I mean, I can give my example. You can listen to my example and think, Amanda, wow, that's really cool, or Amanda, you're whack. That's up to you. But examples of recorded astral projection include case studies by Robert Crook al., which categorized experience based on whether they occurred spontaneously, as in a near-death or illness, or were induced. Like I'm saying, hypnosis and anesthesia is another good example. The CIA's Gateway Report explored the potential for astral projection through techniques like the one developed by Robert Monroe, which uses hemisync audio, I talked about that, to facilitate altered states of consciousness. Additionally, a 2021 study in Curious documented a case in a 15-year-old which was later diagnosed. Oh, well, they later diagnosed. Of course they did. As dissociated disorder, highlighting potential for psychiatric explanations. Look, honestly, as human beings, right, it's a bit like labeling sex to me, like labeling your sexual orientation. It's not the same, but it's in the same theme. And why I say that is because it's on my mind lately. That as human beings, we need to explain everything, all right? It's like our brain, I'm sure, if you're a neuroscientist, psychologist, psychiatrist, you'd probably be able to explain it better than I am. I'm neither of those three. I just know as a person and through observation, this inherent need, physical as a human being need to categorize everything, to be in a level of homeostasis, all right? We're all, if you are more enlightened, I don't know, and I don't mean to be, negative here, but I've always said this, if you are of a certain type of intelligence, maybe you're not having these kind of conversations in your mind. Okay, I'm calling it. I would say to you that most human beings of a level sense of intelligence, shall we say, have an inherent need to have homeostasis. Physical homeostasis, mental homeostasis. Shall I even then lead that into homeostasis? Is that a word? I just made it up. Homeostasis of the conscious. All right? Is that plausible? Am I talking out of my ass here? I don't think I am. If I was then to propose to you in regards to homeostasis, that we have to explain everything. Everything needs to be explained, to be understood, to be grasped, to be comfortable with, because it all ties into that homeostasis. If it falls outside of the lines, we fucking freak out, okay? We fucking freak out. We're uncomfortable. We're not in homeostasis. Therefore, we're uncomfortable and it's not real. The end. It is clear to me in the last couple of years, throughout my entire life, really, when I reflect on it, why would you want to be in homeostasis? I understand that. There's a level of peace, you know that I am searching for. There is a level of peace. That's one thing, right? Why wouldn't you want to let your absolute being as an individual explore the unexplored? To me, it's logical. To me, it's comfortable. To me, it's weird, but it's comfortable, and I want to know. I know there's a whole lot of people out there, and people who listen to this podcast are probably like, Amanda, I don't want to know, or I don't know what you're talking about. To me, I feel like you're denying yourself another level or levels of reality that exist, and I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do that. I don't. This is the thing. To me, it's not even about being logical. It's like, why would you want to deny your absolute soul to be open and explore all? Okay, and whatever all is, I don't know what all is. That's why I'm exploring it. That's why I have this podcast. That's why I talk about these kind of things, because to me, these are interesting topics of conversation that I don't have every day, and they just fucking blow my mind, and I feel in tune to them, and I want to be part of it, mate. That's why I want to create, and I will create Highlander. That's why I'm so intrigued by quantum physics and quantum entanglement. It's about connection, and it's about consciousness, and it's like I've seen a snapshot, and I've felt it, and I feel it every fucking day, and I just want to be a part of it. And I really do implore everyone to just fucking relax and just feel it too. And I know it's hard. I know we get caught up in the minutiae. I love that word. The minutiae of life, okay? You've got bills to pay. You've got work to do. You have a husband. You have a wife. You've got children. You've got fucking a mother is a fucking pain. Look, we have all these relationships. We have all this noise, okay? We have the noise. I acknowledge the fucking noise. I'm not that delusional not to say to you, I know the noise very loudly. I just ask of you to just relax. Just relax and give yourself some fucking space to perhaps explore some of these things, because to me, as a there's one person on earth, and I know there's so many people like me that just let it go, mate. Let go and be open to the possibilities that are, and that is, and it's quiddity. Okay. And this is the thing. Straight away, like, that statement I talked about, Robert Moore and Hemi-Synced, and, they did a study, and straight away, oh no, he's in a dissociation. Yeah, if you're in hypnosis, I'm not a psychologist, right? Of course, if you're in a level of hypnosis, of course it's dissociating. That's not fucking rocket science. I didn't need to study for fucking how many years to understand that if I'm in a hypnotic state, of course I'm dissociating. But am I dissociating though? Am I just going to, or tapping in or harnessing deeper levels of consciousness? Am I tapping into my consciousness? Am I tapping, if you want to talk your soul, how you want to describe it as yourself? Is it dissociation, or is it just tapping into the plane that's always there that you don't see or you don't feel, but because you've drowned out the fucking noise of life, the white noise, we all know about it. You've drowned it out. It's gone, okay, for a split second or moments of time. And time, that's another discussion. You get there and you're in the plane. You're in or on that plane of consciousness, and you're not dissociating. You're actually there. I don't know why. I do know why. Look, I don't know why in its totality, but I do know why we struggle with this as humans. I don't know why completely, but I don't know why we narrate ourselves, okay? Why do we narrate ourselves, withhold from ourselves something so glorious? You know what I mean? The potential of the impossible, the potential of not knowing or understanding or being, the potential of, and this is, I suppose I'm not an adrenaline junkie in any way, shape or form. I'm not jumping out of a plane. I'm not, doing bungee jumping. It's completely different. I understand adrenaline, okay? But why, as a human being, as a vessel of consciousness, why wouldn't you want to explore this? Why wouldn't you want to be a part of this? Why wouldn't you want to feel this? And why do we have to explain these things away scientifically when it is what it is? It is quiddity. It is what it is. So, yeah. I didn't get to remote viewing. That's another discussion. I've never done remote viewing. I don't know what that feels like. I have a strange feeling that my experience around astral projection is very similar to remote viewing, but I don't think that's what it was. So I don't know personally, or never had a discussion with someone personally around remote viewing. I know someone who's talked about doing remote viewing themselves, but I don't know them personally. So it maybe I could reach out to that person and they could explain it to me better in terms that then now I can explain to you as a listener on this podcast today. But yeah, I know, food for thought. Have you, or can you confirm or explain, or have you ever experienced astral projection yourself? Have you been in such a physical and mental state that you have projected somewhere else? Is this topic or conversation completely foreign to you? Or is this something that you recognise as familiar and you've done it and is welcoming and like a big hug you agree with me and, yeah, you're like, thanks, Amanda, glad you talked about this today. Yeah, I'm really interested in these kind of conversations. This is something that I've wanted to talk about for some time. I will do another podcast about this because it's clear to me about limitation and the human experience of limitation. And I do acknowledge and understand when it comes to, when we talk about intelligence as well, there is, there's some people who can do a lot and there's some people who just do. And that's absolutely okay. Does it need to be an intellectual thing? Can the person who's just okay have the same experiences in relation to astral projection as someone who's got a high IQ? I don't know. That would be an interesting study. All I can say is I will endeavour, and I do endeavour to not limit myself in realms like this. I do endeavour to try and understand them more. I do endeavour to be more open with open heart and open mind, mindful of the noise that is life, mindful of the interactions with people that I interact with, who I like and then who I love. And, yeah, just really being open to then those experiences where I might actually create more of a gateway to understand this even more. And for me, that can only be a good thing. So, yeah, if that's something you're interested in or even topics like this, you can always contact me, segue, via my email address, which is info@thetequilahour.com.au. Primarily, I do use Instagram to promote my podcast, so that is the Tequila Hour podcast page. I also have my personal pages, which is the _1_ Amanda as well. Like I said, got some really interesting products, beautiful things coming my way. I cannot wait to fucking feel them and talk about them. These type of topics will always intrigue, excite my consciousness, and I'm always open to talking about them. So if you are down to talking about them as well, I'd love to hear from you. But anyway, signing off. It is Sunday. It is, what did I say it was? It is the 12th of October 2025. It is 4:45 here in Australia, in New South Wales, in Mannering Park. So there you go. Have a good one. Have a great weekend. Have a cracker week to come. Just be kind to yourself, mate, and have a good one. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Bye.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Push through it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Push through it.